and an AI did it for probably less than $1 worth of compute tokens. So this is an amazing change, and the speed with which it has happened, the speed with which it will continue for the next few years, I think is still quite unappreciated. We weren't sure even a year ago how much further our current research roadmap was going to continue, if we're going to hit some sort of limit. At this point, it looks like we've got many years ahead of us of almost certain progress.
Well, fantastic. That really helps us frame the next conversation, which is you're talking to a room full of people in the financial industry and in banking, many of whom are already thinking about how they're going to use AI or already using AI. But how could you compare the potential for AI and productivity with other tech gains that we've seen in the past? Now, you know, I'm of the age that I was in just starting business when the internet became something that we used more broadly. So how could you kind of frame that for us? And is there anything that we used more broadly? So how could you kind of frame that for us? And is there an analogy that you might use to describe where we are?
I've never seen a technology revolution quite like this. You know, the historical examples are, people talk about the Industrial Revolution, they talk about the Computer Revolution. The internet did change a lot of things, but I don't ever remember something that, you know, would have cost $10,000 of knowledge work a year ago costing $1 or 10 cents or whatever it would cost now. Like, this is, you know, for my programming example from a minute ago, I think this is just unprecedented. Now, it doesn't work like that for everything. Things in the physical world, robots, whatever, that's going to take a lot longer. Like, we will, you know, maybe in 2020, it cost $10 to have an Uber drive you across town. Actually, let me say, maybe it cost $100 to have, you know, an emergency parcel service delivered across, you know, economically transformative. And the value sort of diffused throughout all of society as a massive productivity win. But there was a short period of time where there were a lot of transistors, they're called semiconductor companies, and it was this huge boom. And most of those are now kind of like in the background. You're all using devices with lots of transistors in them. They're all over this room. We don't think about this as a transistor device or that as a transistor device. You know, we think of this as like a microphone and a computer and a screen and a camera and whatever else. But this technology was an incredible discovery. It changed what we were able to build. It became part of kind of everything pretty quickly. And you don't talk about companies much as transistor companies, except maybe companies like TSMC or SK Hynix or something like that. And in the same way, I don't think you'll be talking about AI companies for very long. And in the same way, I don't think you'll be talking about AI companies for very long. You will just expect products and services to use this technology. You won't think about it that much. You will expect products and services you use to be smarter than you. And that will be a normal part of the world. Like the transistor, this is a technology that scales beautifully. So we had Moore's law with transistors. We have, I don't think we have a name for it yet, but we have these scaling laws with AI where it just gets better and better, and we learn how to really industrialize this and put this everywhere. So I think that's the best historical analog. And we did see phenomenal productivity gains because of the transistor. But again, what we're seeing now with AI, to say nothing of like the weird cases like the fact that at some point AI can invent its own next versions and really accelerate progress even further, with what we're seeing right now, this just goes quite far.
Well, that's a great analogy, and I think when you said industrial revolution, and one of the things that we think about here at the...
That's a new thing that's happening as the models get all of this personal information in them. So there's some work to do there, but you know, we've been able to kind of go through these risks carefully and manage them, but really deliver a lot of the upside.
Speaking of personal information and those kinds of things, I might just pull a thread on that. And you may not know much about this, but this is something that the banking industry is really interested in right now, is fraud and the impersonating individuals to facilitate fraud. Are there ways that we could mitigate that kind of activity, or that we should safeguard if there is the use of AI or identification of that type of impersonation?
great question. I am very nervous about this. A thing that terrifies me is apparently there are still some financial institutions that will accept a voice print as authentication for you to like move a lot of money or do something else. You say a challenge phrase and they just do it. That is a crazy thing to still be doing. Everybody who worked at OpenAI started to get these stories of how people were using ChatGPT when it was still very novel in their business life. And everybody has their favorite, but I'll tell you my favorite. I was in an Uber, and the Uber driver was telling me about this amazing new thing called ChatGPT and asking if I'd heard of it. And I was like, oh yeah, what are you doing with it? And he was like, it's the craziest thing. I have this small business. It like wasn't quite working, but now I have like an employee in every area. It does contracts for me. It answers my customer support emails. It helps me come up with my marketing and stuff. It designs my thing. He goes down this list. And he basically had this business running on ChatGPT. This was before it was a common thing. This was before GPT. This was an extremely early adopter. But he had figured out how to like run a business on ChatGPT. And it was not like he was taking jobs from other people. Like his worse in many industries. And I think that's not what many people thought, including myself, with the way we used to do AI, but on the current trajectory, that seems very possible.
Hi, Sam. Stephen Scott with a company called Starling. I recently had the opportunity to interview Craig Mundy, who you know wrote a book with Henry Kissinger and Eric Schmidt, where they describe AI as almost the evolution of a new species. And Craig was saying that we can teach AI human moral codes, they can learn it and reflect it. So there's a lot of talk about the ethics of AI. My question for you is, will AI evolve its own morality?
I think people get very confused about whether they want AI to be a tool or a creature. And I don't time your wasting your time in any way. Every time you're kind of clicking around the internet, can't quite do the productive thing. I think we are in an undersupply of labor to a degree that is going to look horrible in retrospect. Now, some areas, again, I think just like totally gone. I don't know if any of you have used one of these like AI customer support bots, but it's incredible. A couple years ago, you like call customer support. You like go through a phone tree, you talk to 4 different people, they do the thing wrong, you call back again, you wait through it. It's like hours of pain, ton of time on hold, and the thing that you want doesn't happen. Very frustrating experience. Now you call one of these things and AI answers. It's like a super smart, capable person. There's no phone tree, there's no transfers. It can do everything that any customer support agent at that company could do. It does not make mistakes, it's very quick. You call once, the thing just happens, it's done, answers right away, great. Now, I don't want to go back to writing risk. It just seems like we can so dramatically improve all of that so quickly now.
How do you see OpenAI or your services facilitating that evolution? And how can we as regulators think about what the constructs should be as we're implementing or allowing for innovation to occur?
Promise I didn't come here for the TV commercial, but we'd love to work with any of you, of course. No, whether it is us or one of our competitors, I think that just in the last 6 months, as reasoning models have really rolled out, this transition from these models that could think not at all and had to give an instant response to models that can think for many seconds or many minutes. And the robustness and reliability that's come with that means that for an industry like this, I think the technology is finally really usable. And a lot of people have not tried the latest generation